There's an alarming report today on the extent of violence in Ontario schools. But the response from Premier Doug Ford has opposition members suggesting he doesn't understand the problem. We get the story from Al Sweeney.
The controversy began with a report by the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario, the teachers' union.
We see the throwing of the chairs, we see the pushing of the table, we see the hitting.
The union says a survey of its members shows a growing wave of violence in schools. It says 77% of all union members have experienced or witnessed violence in schools. 86% in special education have experienced or witnessed violence. 42% of its members have suffered physical or psychological injury or illness as a result of violence against them. And school administrators do not always act on reports of violence. The union says the problem is that students are not getting the support they need.
And so when you have issues of mental health, when you have students who are not being able to be identified as quickly, to put them in the right programs, we see them acting out.
Well, again, isn't that a shame? When we all grew up, that's the last thing you'd think of is hitting a teacher.
The Premier's response?
I think, honestly, as well, it starts at home. Man, if I'll speak for my parents. God forbid I ever went up and hit a teacher. I'd get twice the hit when I got home. And I think everyone out there would say the same thing. So, you know something, it starts at home.
People are asking, is he blaming parents or suggesting they hit children? When the union says the problem is that children are not getting the help they need.
The Premier's comments this morning and the Minister of Education's, to me, show just exactly how out of touch they are with the reality in our schools.
Clearly demonstrated that he's not engaged with the problem or understands what the solutions are, because they aren't, getting a couple more whacks when you get home. Totally wrong.
Education Minister Stephen Lecce was asked if Ford is suggesting parents hit children.
No, that is not what he suggested. He spoke about a personal experience.
Lecce says the government has been putting more money into schools. The teachers' union says the government has cut back funding and says the Premier isn't listening.
What he needs to do is to really read our report and to hear the things that we need to do our job well. And it's not violent students. It's students who, as I keep hammering home, whose needs are not being met. So there's these outbursts.
So there's also a lot more discussion today of how bad things are in schools. Green Party leader Mike Schreiner says the violence is so bad that some teachers are telling him they're wearing protective gear to school, while ETFO says some substitute teachers are refusing to work in some schools because they don't get the support from administrators in the face of student violence.